Hello there. Today I'm going to deal with another important aspect of transformation. And this is interesting. Well, for a while I was a designate HR head in a premium leading Indian organization as a consultant. And as an HR head, my responsibilities were recruitment. Before that, as an employee, I had made many applications and I worked in various organizations in different positions. But this time, I was on the other side of the table. And I knew the inside story about how selections are made. It was a vast big company, 3,500 employees, and there used to be recruitment all the time. But some people will leave the job, some others will join in. We shall advertise and we'll get various responses. And when we released those advertisements, we made sure that we mentioned certain criteria for selection. And we got applications. Let's say there was a position of a sales executive for which we wanted graduates in any discipline with 1 or 2 years experience. And when the responses came in, it was unmanageable. Believe me, there were 5,000 applications for the post of sales executives. 5,000. And we started screening them. Almost all of them fulfilled those criteria. All of them fulfilled those criteria. But the posts were only 5. Now think about this vast gap between 5,000 and 5. So I wondered, is it a rejection system or a selection system? First of all, we had to reject a number of applications. We got to screen them out because it was impossible to make an interview of 5,000 employees only because they fulfilled their criteria. When this screening started, and we could reduce it to about 150 people for the preliminary interview, having screened them out, and after 150 preliminary interview, we had the second round of interview where there were 50 people, and then in the final round of interview, we had 7 people, 5 were appointed and 2 were standby. Now, I want you to focus your mind between these two, the 5 that joined the organization and 5,000 who wanted to join the organization. They were all eager to join the company and all of them were eligible, quote unquote, eligible. I'm talking about the alphabet E. And I want to say there are many eligible people for the job. But not all of them are capitally entitled for the job. 5 were entitled and 5,000 were eligible. And from that day I got this brilliant idea about a transformation of the alphabet E from small e to capital E, from eligibility to entitlement. This is fascinating. You will ask me, how do you bring it in the context of life? I said, why not? What do you see in this world? When I look around, I feel most people are eligible to succeed, but not all of them are entitled. All of them have the basic criterion for becoming successful. Successful people are so to say, are not extraordinary people. They do some extraordinary work in order to become successful. If those ordinary people did those extraordinary work, then they could become entitled, and that means they could have become successful. So in the world over, in any developmental project, in any selection project, in any qualifying project, you always find 2 kinds of people. Most of them are eligible, only a few of them are entitled. Now, what is this gap between eligibility and entitlement? The first criterion that I found out is, what is the difference between the eligible and the entitled? I mean, what is the difference between the so-called ordinary and the extraordinary? The first criterion that I find is once again a small e to capital E. Within eligibility to entitlement, I find most of these people who are eligible are efficient. But those who are entitled are not only efficient, they're a little more. They are effective. In the context of excellence, in the context of doing extraordinary work, in the context of standing out in this world, being better than others, making your mark, becoming successful, we got to remember this aspect of being effective rather than efficient. People ask me, can you give an example? What is efficient and what is effective? Very simple. Very simple. We got a two-wheeler which is very popular in the marketplace in India. People buy them. Even ladies ride them. You know that. What is the brand? Kinetic Honda. Imagine if the brand was not called Kinetic Honda, it was called Potential Honda. Will anyone buy? I'm sure not. People do not want potential things. They want kinetic things. And that's the difference between efficiency and effectiveness. Efficiency are potential, effectiveness are kinetic. Kinetic means you are delivering. In the modern context, in the management, they use this word deliverables. Things have changed. They don't say what you can do. They say, what is your deliverable? Such a powerful nomenclature. Think of it, deliverable. Where the mind gets focused. What are you going to deliver at the end of the day? We are not interested to know how many times you have been a captain of how many teams before. What we want to know right now is how many goals you can make. That creates your position in the world. So it's not a question of how much able or capable you are. The question is, what can you do at the end of the day? What is the return on our investment? In the context of HR selection, if you are applying for a job, you are accountable to prove what is your deliverable at the end of the day. And this makes the distinction clear between an eligible and entitled. Eligible people are potential people. Nothing wrong with them. They have all the qualities, like the entitled one. But they don't do their work. Many of them procrastinate. Many of them are complacent. Many of them know that they're capable of doing. But they do not get down to doing the job. It once again comes the question of knowing and doing. Efficient people knows, but the effective people do. So if you want to transform the eligible to entitled, you got to bring them to the doing platform. You got to inspire them to deliver at the end of the day. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, we got to be very careful. Entitled people are not perfectionists. Many people think perfectionism is a good thing, but in real sense, perfectionism is a negative thing, because the person who always tries to be perfect has got a frown in his head all the time, is never happy, and he will never complete the job. Have you seen such people who always want to do better and better and better and better? In the process, the whole time goes, nothing comes out. But in the practical sense, you got to do it. You got to deliver it. You got to proceed. You got to go ahead. So don't wait until you see the perfection. So replace that concept of perfection to excellence. What is excellence? Keep on improving. They call it Kaizen in Japan. Kaizen means continuous improvement. It's a very beautiful thing in the Japanese culture. That's why they have excelled in technology. Continuous improvement. That's the culture of excellence. There is something beautiful in the Japanese culture. They call it Kaizen. And that's not about perfectionism. That's about excellence. The English meaning of the word Kaizen is, I heard, continuous improvement. What a beautiful thing, isn't it? Continuous improvement. All the time you are not perfect. Sometimes you fall short. In fact, you fall down. That doesn't matter. But can you stand up and start again? Again and again and again. And that's natural. It is the issue of consistency which is missing in the culture of most people. And that's why they remain mediocre or eligible. They had those qualities, but they are not consistent. They are not determined. They don't have a clear purpose in their life. So, replace that concept of perfectionism to excellence. There must be an attitude to do better and better and better and better. And someone told this very beautifully to me. Said, break your own records. Like it? I do. Break your own records. What a great idea. You break your own records. You have no business to beat anybody. You are not running a sprint race, a 100-meter flat race. It's a long journey. Life is a long journey. It's a marathon race. So keep on running at your own pace. But slowly and slowly you must increase the pace. That's the way to win a marathon. So this is a marathon attitude. It's an attitude of effective people. It's an attitude of not perfectionists but excellent people who break their own records and improve themselves with Kaizen themselves every time. And the third, and also very important, is that wonderful principle of Dale Carnegie. Put a little more enthusiasm in whatever you do. In context, I remember Dr. David Hawkins, my favorite. His record-breaking book called Power and Force made a tremendous transformation in my life, where David Hawkins invited our attention. Don't apply your force, apply your power, because force is external, power is internal. Put a little more enthusiasm into your work. And that enthusiasm can be anything. That can be your creativity. That can be your eagerness to do something better, a little more. That extra edge is always an attitude of entitled people. And that separates them from the eligible ones. So 3 important points we have discussed between an eligible and entitled. The first one is not efficient but effective. Focus on what are you going to deliver at the end of the day, rather than all the time harping on what you are capable of doing. What is your past? Be in the present moment. They want to know from you, what is the result that you produce at the end of the day. Next, create excellence. Don't bother about perfectionism. Don't waste your time until you actually show up the best. Keep on improving daily. Create Kaizen. And last but not the least, put a little more enthusiasm into your work. So I love playing with letters. I was talking to you from small e to capital E, that is from eligibility to entitlement, and I created 3 more E's for you to get those transformation: enthusiasm, effectiveness, and excellence. So when you use these 3 words, these 3 attitudes into that age-old eligibility, you stand out, you make your mark. And let me finally inspire you to get into the realm of entitlement. That's the ultimate goal of our life. And it's no small thing. It's not only in the context of competition or interviews or examination. In the context of whole life. What is the ultimate mission of life? To realize God. Because from God we came and to God we go. And how do we do that? We got to be entitled to get the blessings. Why do you go for prayer? Why do we meditate? Why do you do yoga? Why do you do all other things? Only to transform ourselves from mediocrity to excellence, from eligibility to entitlement. What is the difference between ordinary people and saints? Saints stay with God because they have already got the entitlement. They've got the baton of God. So many things happen in their life, right? Those self-realized people remains as role model in our life. So, it is very important for us to know what tremendous benefit, with tremendous gains we have if we engage ourselves to transform our life from the realm of eligibility to entitlement. The first thing, though may sound a little mundane, but it's quite inspiring, you get honor. If you are entitled, you will be honored. Who doesn't want to be honored? Who doesn't want to get respect? That's what we are working hard for. And you will get that. If you are entitled, you shall be honored. Accolades will be yours. Prizes will be yours. Rewards will be yours. And everywhere you will be on the limelight. Make sense? So, be entitled. Second thing, you will attract beautiful things in your life, because the moment you are entitled, power of attraction works with you. Everything happens in your life. Your wishes becomes a command. Heard me? Your wishes becomes a command. Wonderful. Do you like it? You want to be in the realm that all your wishes become a command, and it's a reality. It's a reality for entitled people. Third, how about having a lot of fans and followers in your life? We all want that. We get into social media and we count our likes. We get very excited when we cross the 5,000 marks. And we get very envious of people who have got 1 lakh like, my God. We all want fans and followers. We all want to be leaders. We all want to stand out, and the power of attraction will work in your favor if you are entitled. And last but not the least, you will set remarkable example for others to follow. You will be a role model. Like all history makers, you open the book of those success makers, we would like to emulate them. We'd like to follow them. We'd like to be like them. And those people are actually entitled. I love saying in my own way, as I love playing with my words, if you want to be enlightened, you should be entitled. If you want to be enlightened, you should be entitled. So the final and the last is enlightenment. Because if you really want to be enlightened and wise, you got to be first entitled. So toil hard. Make that extra effort. Put a little more enthusiasm. Don't worry about perfectionism. Keep on excelling every moment. And don't be bogged down with your efficiency. Come on, come up and check up with yourself how effective you are. And once you do that, you made it in this world. Your goals are fulfilled. Your purpose is achieved. Thank you very much, and all the best to you. See you next time.